basically is alleging that the only reason America isn't in an uproar with a bunch of protests and, taking over the government is because the group that would be doing that, Black people, have been bought off by Jay-Z. Now, there's no mention of whether or not this was a plan of theirs, if they sent him to do that, but there are certain instances and circumstances throughout the years that could lead us to that conclusion. For example, when Brooklyn wanted to build the Barclays Center, there was a lot of pushback from people who lived there. They said that it would basically take away housing from poor Black people. So what did they do? Well, they brought Jay-Z in. Now, he only had a small percentage of ownership in the Barclays Center. The rumors are that it's between 0.5% and 1%, but they promised him ownership, which he toted and bragged about for years. And Jay-Z was basically the face of the Barclays Center. Black people in Brooklyn eventually got on board with the idea of the Barclays Center coming to Brooklyn with the promise of it providing jobs and things like that. But the major reason was because Jay-Z was involved, and they saw him as the face of it all. They saw Jay-Z being the guy that was trying to build Barclays Center for Brooklyn, despite the fact that he only had 0.5% of ownership in the company. Jay-Z eventually went on to sell his ownership in the Barclays Center several years later, but there is another example of Jay-Z possibly selling us out. Back in 2016, when Colin Kaepernick took a knee to protest police brutality against Black people in America, everyone was up in a roar. White supremacists were saying that they couldn't believe he did that and wanted him punished. Black people were applauding him for doing it and took his side. The NFL was in a very, very sticky situation, and they had people from both sides that they kind of had to answer to. On one hand, you have white supremacists who are threatening to never watch the NFL again, boycotting games, burning their jerseys. And then on the other hand, you have Black people who stood with Colin Kaepernick and basically said that they would do the same if he was punished for his protest. Both fan bases were extremely needed in order for the NFL to succeed. And somehow the NFL was in the middle of all of this. They had to make both parties happy. So what did they do? Called in Jay-Z. They got Jay-Z to basically make a statement and say, it's time for us to move past this protest. It's been 3 years. Nothing has come of this. We need to move forward. Colin Kaepernick had been ousted from the NFL. So white supremacists were happy, but Black people weren't. So they brought Jay-Z in to basically...
We're not studying. God told us to read and be knowledgeable. So when I see Jay-Z, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? You're not no gang member. You got checkerboard floors in your shit. You got skull and bones. What does this mean? Because it's not just there. You look at Cardi B's album cover, it's checkerboard. You look at Dream Doll, now she's the checkerboard too. Like, I'm not, y'all niggas, let me tell you something. These motherfuckers sell their soul, they practice witchcraft.
What does it mean though?
What it means.
What does the checkerboard mean?
It means mind control. So you got classical conditioning, you got operational conditioning. So what they do is they use programming. So
MK Ultra.
Yeah, but it's to push an agenda. So
you heard of this shit before, right?
I heard of MK Ultra, but I don't pay that shit too much mind.
So what I'm saying is, not saying that we care about it because I'm not a conspiracy theorist. It's just that this is what I look for. When I see a success, I'm looking for anything
to say that they didn't do it on their own?
Yeah, detain it. Not to say
that's not a good way to look at it.
That's not a good way to look at it.
It's a great way to look at it.
That's not a good way to look at it.
It's not. It's not.
If I ever make it, just look and say, that's my man, he did well. Please don't be looking for the devil behind me. Nah. You know why? Because if you look for the devil behind me,
you gonna find
me.
No, you won't.
You won't find me.
No, you won't.
Anytime
you won't.
Anytime.
Yo, let me tell you something. They call niggas think.
Because you do this all the time. What this mean?
Hold on. Niggas think that they said he was in a niggas think Method Man brought me to the meeting. For real.
The cow.
And I'm next level now.
Like, don't do that with your hands up.
You do that though.
All right, what's good? What's good? You know what I'm saying? Your boy right back at y'all, man. You know. Thought I'd come on and holler at y'all a little bit. Jay-Z back in the news and is resurfacing about, you know, how he done did people over the years. And now it's like You know, I think he got to go back on the road. He dropping a new album. I think he trying to do a Ti to research back his music when it was like he wasn't recording no more. But one thing you can say about Jay-Z, you never know what's coming from him. You know, he gonna always keep you guessing and wondering. You know, you know what was cool about the the celebrities before the internet, which a lot of them don't like. Everybody get to know your business, and I think it was the allure and the mystique of the celebrities that I think everybody is so impressed about. And now that we get to see these dudes in everyday form, you know, on social media and get to follow them and their lifestyle, it's like y'all regular dudes now. You know what I'm saying? Because we get to see you all the time. I attended uh, a funeral. One of my homeboys' stepdad died, and you know, one of my other homies, two of my other homies, was like, "Hey man, we be watching your podcast, bro. You be doing your thing. You been doing it for a minute." I like, yeah, I'm celebrating 5 years this summer, this June, you know, and yeah, you know, and then then one of the other homies is like, "Damn, you don't come around, you know." You acting like the celebrities now. Nobody get to see you. You just pop out on everybody. So, and I start laughing because, you know, I'm just doing what I do. I'm a family man. I ain't out in the street no more. And I work, I come home. When you do see me, I'm with the fam. You know what I'm saying? So, but that was funny for him to say that. So, but it struck a bit of truth that used to be something that was big with the celebrities, and that's why I think we loved them so much because we couldn't get enough of whoever you admire, music wise, movie wise, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And but it's like it's saturated now, if you will. You know, if you like somebody, you like them no matter what. But uh, I think some of the fanning out is gone. Say like, you know, because of social media. I think before when somebody would see a celebrity, and I'm just talking about percentage wise, and I think this will be 70% right now. People will break their neck to go and try to get an autograph. And before the camera phones, the autograph was king, you know, to get their signature, you know. And nowadays, I think this is 70%. When you see a celebrity now, you just see him and be like, oh, there goes so and so. You ain't fanning out no more, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I think what also is a turn off now is that you buy these tickets, you buy movie tickets, you buy you know, you go buy CDs and their music and go see their comedy shows. And the worst thing in the world is for one of these celebrities to act funky with you. You know what I'm saying? And that would just kill, you know, the kill buzz of your experience, because it's an experience to see somebody on TV or a recording star that's doing it at a big level, you know what I'm saying? That done sold millions of records. You know, people can fake like that's not impressive all they want. You know what I'm saying? Or he just a regular dude, or she is just a regular. No, she not. No, he not. Cause if it was so basic, you would do it. You know, so I'm just a congratulator. I'm not no hater. You know, I congratulate. When you do things on a monumental level, I'm about giving people their flowers. That's inspiration for me. You know, I'm not gonna have hate in my heart and say, fuck that nigga. You know, fuck that chick, cause it ain't me. And like, you know, look, that ain't your gift. God gave everybody a gift, and everybody gift ain't to be famous at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Or rich. You see how it's cracked up to be. Who really want to be famous now? With all this stuff coming out, all this shit coming out about how they rip you off. You know what I'm saying? It's like a play in the playbook. Okay, we're gonna rob you. We're gonna rape you literally. You know, from the looks of what Diddy and the Epstein's and everybody doing. You know what I'm saying? You know, they saying you gotta get on the casting couch, and that's for men and women. You know, who wanna do that? You know what I'm saying? So I'm just feeling like, is it worth it? So that's why we're in the era of independence, whereas though you can put your own art out and feel good about it. You know what I'm saying? And if you really savvy and go hard for it and with it, maybe you on your own will blow yourself up and make it to the echelon of the rewards instead of getting awards. You know what I'm saying? Steve Harvey just said that. You know what I'm saying? And he said, I gave up on the wars a long time ago. All I'm interested is in the reward, and that's that paper. You know, that's the bag that I command. You know, he said that's why I work hard. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm about the reward, not awards. You know what I'm saying? If awards come, they come. If not, the reward will sustain me, and I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? So, so I'm just saying, if you was an artist and now, like, shouts out to Trey Poot Chaney, put his own movie out on Tubi, Love and Larceny, and I'm on I think it's like a series, and I'm on the second part, and I love it. You know what I'm saying? He's executive producer, put his own money up, and nowadays we have a place to put your independent music on all streaming platforms like YouTube, and now we have a place to put your movies, Tubi. You know what I'm saying? And places like that. You know what I'm saying? So the independence grind is real. Cause think about it. Again, it's like a playbook it's like a play in the playbook for these labels just to purposely rip you off. And when they feel like they done took from you enough, then they'll say, okay, we're gonna play fair. We're gonna let you get your right percentages and this, and that. You know what I'm saying? And how rare do that happen? Somebody got to be damn near dead and somebody come and save them and resurrect them. You know what I'm saying? For them to really get the fruits of their labor. Who really want to go through that? Do you really want to be famous that bad? You know what I'm saying? I don't. I don't. I thought I did, but I don't. You know, I'm okay with being a regular dude. Um, I found a career, and everything that I would do as somebody that had money and was famous, I'm doing just on a low scale. You know, I'm a family man. I done traveled this world, still traveling. It's still a lot of places I want to go, things I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Um, you know, I got a home. I done been married twice. I'm still married, but I done created two families from both marriages. Honeymoons. So life is about a journey. So check your checkpoints off. You know what I'm saying about life itself. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting a lot of joy of seeing my family grow up that were kids, and then they grown having kids, and I had a hand in that. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm watching my kids graduate college and high school and go on to do big things in their life. That's what it's about, man. I mean, if you can't be the cream of the crop and a billionaire, what's next? What is the next best thing? And that's to enjoy life. No matter how big or small that you doing it, it just need to be enjoyed. You know what I'm saying? Not not just on weekends, not just when you go on vacation. Every day you need to find some kind of joy in your journey of life. You know what I'm saying? Because first, we don't know when we checking out. You know what I'm saying? You here today, you gone tomorrow. So, people just need to really tap into that and understand that, you know, uh, life is not promised tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm getting off. I'm getting off course. I'm gonna go somewhere else with it, spiritual. But let me come back. Um, what I'm trying to say is being famous is not what it's cracked up to be, because money that they give you, what you supposed to earn, they set it up that all you doing is getting yourself in debt, and they looking for you not to get out of debt. You get what I'm saying? So you basically a slave to the rhythm. You know, that was the song, Grace Jones and EU. You know what I'm saying? You basically a slave uh, 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 to what's supposed to be a creative art form, you know, but all it is a pimp game at the end of the day. So I'm like this: if you really want to express your art, put it out, you monetize it, you bring yourself and make your little paper off it, because the way I see it, what you would independently make from your art artistry is what they gonna pay you after they get finished ripping you off. You're not gonna see what you supposed to see. So how about you own your material, and you know you put it out there and somebody want to copy it that's big, you sue they butt. And you come up like that. Let somebody that want to play the game with them and get ripped off and be the puppet and be the slave, let somebody steal your music and then you sue they butt. You know what I'm saying? You know, and you own the rights to your work. And then, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it shouldn't be like that, but that's the world we live in. You know what I'm saying? Put your artistry out and make your money off your brand yourself. No more, not even if it's a couple of $1,000, you know what I'm saying? Say like you putting your own artistry out and you make about 50 G's. You feel me? That's 50 G's you never had. And you could do something with 50 G's. You could help your life with that. You know what I'm saying? Versus the record label or whoever giving you 50,000 and now you owe 150. Like, come on, man. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Put your artistry out and enjoy your art and enjoy the response that it get from your peers, which is the people. You know what I'm saying? You know, and you know, if you hot, they gonna come looking for you, and you know, you just need to make sure you try to move with caution as much as possible because you can go get a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? Go get you a lawyer that stand on business because even then, ain't nothing guaranteed because they can compromise the lawyer. Everybody that supposed to be in your corner and got your back, they can compromise these folks. You know what I'm saying? So ain't nothing perfect at the end of the day. So get your joy out of your artistry and get your coin, get your money. And then if they for real want to mess with you, they'll come for you and they'll offer you what you want. You let them know what you want and not what they want to give you. Because you came looking for me. You came checking for me. You feel me? That's the attitude that we need to carry. And we need to be out here, you know, presenting our own artistry to the people. You know what I'm saying? You know, if I was younger in my 20s in this era, I'll go ahead and have it popping. I'll throw my own shows, you know, I'll go straight to the street with it. You know, I'll go to my community center and throw my own concerts and charge 5, 10, $20. You know what I'm saying? You know, I put it on streaming and make some money from that. Come on, man. Look, we in the era of independence now. You know what I'm saying? But everybody want to do it big. I was just in a conversation with some young bucks, and they were talking about what if you, I guess, hit the Powerball or whatever, and they was talking about what they gonna do, what they ain't gonna do, who they gonna take care of, who they ain't gonna take care of. And then one of the young boys was like, yeah, man, you know, but people so fickle now. If you don't tell them that you don't want all this money and you bust out with something fly like a Maybach or a Bentley, they gonna swear up and down that it's rented. You know, and he say people gonna comment on your social media, yeah, you really is tearing up that rental. And you know, I say, little bruh, you care too much. You care too much. Why do you give a damn what somebody saying? You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, let's for real get serious with this. For real, for real. Ballers, dudes and women that really got it, they like to stunt. That's just part of the game and how they play. But if you ain't got it, you know, why would I worry about you stunting on me or me stunting on you? I don't care because I know you broke because I'm broke. So if I go and rent me, I told the dude, I had the young boys laughing. I said, back in the 80s, when the Lexuses was real fly, like It was on the level of a Maybach or a Bentley now. You know what I'm saying? When the Lexuses came out, we had a plug where 2000 every weekend we could have us a fly car to ride around in. You feel me? And myself, I rented me a nice Lexus, different models, maybe once a month for the weekend. And yeah, everybody laughing and snickering like he really think he balling. You motherfucking right. I am for the motherfucking weekend. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? And everybody that was rocking with me, we was fly for the weekend. God damn it. So what? I done had 100 Rolexes. All of them was knockoffs. I was the knockoff king. I ain't give a fuck. I ain't give a shit. Trust me. You feel me? You know, even when I get money, I'm not buying all that shit because I ain't got it like that. I'm not going to work hard and spend all my hard-earned money on these brands that I know I can't afford. That's real stupidity. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I'm thinking like that in a mature mind in my 20s. You know, but I get it. When you in the street, you balling, you getting money, you don't respect how you spend it. But I did. I wasn't in the street. I worked for mine. So I'm not giving it up like that just to keep up with a crew that's getting it for real. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? When I wanted to front, I was fronting. And then I ain't really had to front because my guys, man, you got 3 cars. Let me hold them keys, man. I'm going out with a shorty tonight. What's up? Let me hold them keys. You know, I'll gas it up when I come back. I ain't had to. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all on here that I grew up, you know, my family, we ain't no money. We was fucked up. We was busted, but we had family. So with family, we held each other down, you know, nothing got thrown away. Shoes, clothes, everything got recycled. So when I became an individual that started working and getting any kind of money, fashion became my friend. You know what I'm saying? You know, so, you know, whatever that was fly, I was going shopping. You know, I enjoy shopping because I grew up with hand-me-downs, you know what I'm saying? You know, and I used to get joked on about my old clothes that was new to me when I got it. My friends be like, man, you still look bro, we was wearing that 2 years ago. I like, well, it's fly to me. It's new to me. I just got it. You know, I just got a bag of clothes from my older cousins. You know what I'm saying? So basically, my material mindset was clothes and shoes because I used to wear everybody else stuff. You know, so I ain't care nothing about no car and anything else that went with it. You know what I'm saying? You know, when I stepped in the spot, I owned it because I know I look good. I know I look good. I was fly, whatever it was. I spent money on clothes. You feel me? And, you know, and it was for me. It wasn't to impress nobody, even though, you know, I would get mad compliments, you know what I'm saying? And I was the first one out of my crew that stopped wearing jeans and tees and sweatsuits and start putting on fabrics. You know what I'm saying? Suits. You know what I'm saying? Cashmere, suede, leathers. You feel me? Silks. You know, I was doing it like that. When you saw me, I looked like I was in the streets. and I wasn't, but I was around a lot of players. So I blended in and I got the attention because I was with them, you know what I'm saying, of the same fashion. You know what I'm saying? I booked the same chicks and but I was so confident and on my shit. I ain't care nothing about what I drove, which was a hoopty. My personal ride was a hoopty, but I was so vain. I be like, "What you drive to a honey? What you working with? This me right here. And then what you got going on? You don't want to ride in that? Well, let's ride in your shit. I got the gas. You want me to drive? You sit over there and look pretty. Let me put my hand on them big thighs while I drive your shit." I was giving it up like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, I wasn't shy about nothing. I stepped to any situation, you know what I'm saying, with a lot of confidence, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, so I ain't never really had to compromise or nothing. And I did my thing, you know what I'm saying? So I never lacked with nobody that was in the streets had. I never lacked nothing, you know what I'm saying? I got the same attention that they got, far as with the fine ladies, the pretty ladies, even though my pockets wasn't deep, you know what I'm saying? But I worked. I kept me a G in my pocket. I was that dude. I kept a G from working. I had skills. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? So I used to have dudes come roll up on me from the hood, when I was still living at home. Cause I went to trade school and brick masonry was my trade. You know what I'm saying? So construction was like my first real job that was paying me some bread. And I was making 18 an hour in 88 at 18 years old. My check was like 1,500 after taxes. You know what I'm saying? And and it was funny that, you know, them people sent my mother a letter saying, we going up on your rent because your son, he getting a little bread. You know what I'm saying? So I told my mother, no big, yeah, I paid. She was like, no, you ain't. You gonna move. You gonna go get your own spot. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I was living. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and so if you follow me, you know why I didn't get in the street, because I had a father that was in the streets and he was like, you're not going to be in these streets. You're going to do something better. You're going to be a better version of me and woo and you know what I'm saying? And I did that on the strength of him pouring, you know, structure into me and told me to dream big and not be small minded, feeling like you can't leave this neighborhood. So I received that my father was trying to pour into me, as well as having a great moms that loved on me, you know what I'm saying? Had a grandmother that was spiritual. Them three, that was my big three of influence. So when I went out in the world around the homies and everybody trying to make you timid or see if you timid or try to break your confidence, it wasn't working with me. You know what I'm saying? They would joan at my old clothes and shoes, and I'd be laughing right with them because it was funny. You know what I'm saying? You ain't had me timid or crying or upset and ready to kill myself I be laughing right with you, you know, and I'm droning back, you know what I'm saying? You know, motherfucker, you got on $2,000 a year and you still don't get no numbers. You know what I'm saying? You still leave the club by yourself. Go home and choke the chicken. Like, come on, man, stop playing. I had jokes. You know what I'm saying? You know, one of the homies tried to play me one day, right? I'm gonna tell you how I used to give it up. I'm riding with him, you know, I'm geared up, you know. And then one thing about it, I got my guys dressing because these dudes had money and they never looked like they had money. They was just jeans and t-shirt, tennis shoes, and you know what I'm saying? I'm in the spot, we're in the spot, and I was getting all the attention because I looked like I had it. And these jokers would get jealous, like, why all the chicks checking for you? And I'm like, nigga, I look like I got it. Ninja, I look like I got it. Yeah, but you broke. Yeah, well, step your game up. You know what I'm saying? Let's go shopping. You know what I'm saying? Take some lessons from your boy. And then you gonna buy me some pieces while I give you some of my lessons of what you need to be picking out. You know what I'm saying? You know, because, you know, we stepped our game up. You know, when we start, you know, graduating high school, you know, going to college, and now we going to frat parties and meeting grown women that's graduating college and, you know, with government jobs, you know what I'm saying, 6-figure jobs, and, you know what I'm saying, you know, you got to look the part. You know, you gotta look the part, and ain't nobody checking for you with jeans and tennis shoes on. You gotta put them suits on. You gotta put them fits on. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be grown. You know what I'm saying? You know, you gotta get your smell good cologne, and you know, have a honey wanna come next to you and sniff you and be like, what you got on? You know what I'm saying? That's a player move right there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, like, these dudes, even though they had money, they, you know what I'm saying, they wasn't on point. So I was the guy that everybody called and was like, where you at tonight, D? I know you got a few parties to go to, or a party. Nigga, I got 3 parties to go to. What's up? In one night, we hitting all of them. And then I told y'all, I cracked myself up when this movie came out, The Wedding Crashes. We was the original party crashes. All right. We'll hear about your joint and just show up. Well, I would anyway. Everybody else just followed up. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like we was coming to start trouble. We was coming to have a good time, and everybody welcomed it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you dudes wasn't invited, but I'm glad y'all was here. Y'all made the party. And I tell my son, I say, go watch House Party 1. That's me and my crew. Back in the 80s, we used to give it up. You know, I went to a function recently and all the dudes huddled up, all the women on the other side. I'm like, what's going on? Why ain't nobody jamming? You know what I'm saying? And it was like a young person gathering, one of my homies' son, and he got his crew there from, I think he freshman in college and just left high school. So it's a lot of young people there, right? Young adults. And I'm like, ain't nobody trying to get no numbers. I'm like, what y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this generation weird as fuck. I mean, everything we did was to impress the ladies. And, You know, that's why dudes get fresh. That's why you wear nice cologne. That's why you want to stay groomed and fresh and you know what I'm saying? As the kids say, stay swagged up. You know what I'm saying? You know, we was just on something. Look, you got game. You know what I'm saying? What they say now, finesse, all that. I'm like, whatever the hell you say or your mojo, it's all for to impress the ladies. And then even the women, when they come out, they ain't coming out to look cute for other chicks. You ain't supposed to. You want to look good for the guys, so the guys would approach you and have a conversation. And it ain't about laying somebody down and having sex with them. It is a lot of uh it is a lot of joy in meeting a friend, connecting with somebody, networking with somebody. You know what I'm saying? It ain't all about laying down and being, I mean, if that's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? But I pride myself on the people that I done came in contact with and was friends with from then to now. You know what I'm saying? I'm old school. I still say Rolodex instead of my contacts, like in the phone. I say Rolodex. I ain't got no Rolodex, but I still refer to contacts as Rolodex. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it was. Look, I still got my original phone book from high school. You know what I'm saying? And the one after that, and as many as I had, because I would fill up a phone book in a heartbeat. It was nothing. Everywhere I went to school, jobs I had, places I to visit, I keep contact with everybody. You know what I'm saying? I was the dude, and I don't really do it now. Um, Maybe I did it because I was single when I was single. I was the one calling everybody like maybe once a month to say, man, what's up? And that was also another way how I stayed in the know of all the action that was going on. Who was doing what, who throwing this, who throwing that. Hey, where y'all posting up at? You know what I'm saying? So because I reach out to folks, you know what I'm saying? And now everybody want to text and they don't really talk no more. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I stayed in the know because I call folks. And they like, oh, we over here, so and so doing this, woo. You know what I'm saying? Holiday weekends that will come up. It was nothing to shoot up to New York or AC, Virginia Beach, North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? We kept it popping. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I don't see these kids doing none of that now. Or they drug addicts, popping pills and all that. You was frowned on if you was on drugs. Now I don't know who made that cool to be a pill popper. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, where everybody like, didn't y'all smoke weed? And it's the same thing. Nah, that's hard drugs. Weed not nothing hard. You know what I'm saying? Even though I wasn't a smoker, I drank. You know, I was always sipping. You know what I'm saying? Because I always had a job that will always want your analysis. So therefore, I ain't setting myself up to play with my money like that. We ain't doing that. You feel me? And I don't understand folks that will put recreation before their paper. If they say, hey, you gotta stop drinking because now we testing for alcohol and you to keep your gig, you can't drink no more. Okay, done. It's done. I'm not losing my paper because of recreation. Are you stupid? Like when my mom say, are you dumb? Nah, we ain't doing that. No, sir. But that ain't the case right now. So we sipping. You feel me? Yeah. But yeah, man. So it's just different now, man. And like I said, but back to the story, you know, uh, uh, how dude was talking about you could have something nice you paid for, but because people don't know you sitting on some paper, they'll automatically think it's a rental. So what? So what? I was renting me a nice Lex once a month and fronting hard like I paid for it, like it was paid for. From the time I got it, I was out all weekend. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to visit everybody. Beep, beep, beep. Come on, let's ride. Let's roll out. Where the parties at? Where the happenings at? I'm funny. You know what I'm saying? And look, I don't care. So I can talk about it because I lived it. Even with the brands. Now, mind you, I had a little paper when I got some paper. Everything wasn't enough. I was like, my first Cool G sweater was $500 and I ain't paid for it. It was a Christmas gift from my girl. And I may have bought me two after that of my own. Everything else was a knockoff. I had every color. You feel me? And I had a Rolex to match each Cool G sweater. That was a knockoff. So you had folks that got jokes. I said, let me ask you something. Is it fresh? Am I blending? Am I styling right now? Yeah, but that shit knock off. I don't give a fuck. So what? And I ain't trying to impress you. It's for the ladies. You don't know unless I tell you. So what? I was telling the young homie, you care too much. But see, that's for them jokers that's be trying to, be in competition with each other. If you for real ain't papered up, both of y'all dudes broke. Both of you ninjas broke. Why you trying to stunt on each other and y'all broke? You know what I'm saying? You ain't balling like that. If you balling, then you can afford to give your lady $30,000 and $15,000 a month for her to go shopping. I knew dudes that did that. Rich off the streets. Knew a few of them dudes that was like under 25 in the 80s. You feel me? And them dudes like to stun on folks. And guys that had it like they had it, that's what they did. You know what I'm saying? And I be like, that game too expensive. I can't do it. And they like, shut your broke ass. I'm like, nigga, you got it. You right. Then since I'm broke and you paid, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Then let's shoot some dice so I can win some of that money up off y'all dudes. Yeah. I won't be broke no more once I hit y'all pockets. That's how I used to give it up. You know what I'm saying? I used to brag about I hustled the hustlers, because them dudes had money. They ain't care about losing no money. That's how I kept money. And I worked. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I did some things with these bones when I was in school. But when you get out in the real world, paying rent, and, I remember I lost the whole paycheck. That's what stopped me gambling, shooting dice, if you will. I couldn't pay my rent. I had to go ask my mother for some money, and she scolded me for like an hour. She was like, you know I ain't got this money to give you. So this is your first and your last time coming at me because you done lost all your money. And if you love your mother like I love my mother, that shit was excruciating. It was excruciating. And she made me sit there and listen to her ranting and raving and, you know, uh, she talked about everything under the sun. And I had to sit there and listen to that shit because I needed that money. You know, I came in like I was going to jet back out. She like, nah, sit down. Sit down. You going to keep me some company for a little while. I was like, damn. I should have went and got me a beer and relaxed. I think I sat there and watched like 3 movies with her while she was talking junk to me about, you know, how disappointed she was with me. And I had to take it. And I said, you know what? I ain't doing this no more. I say, Ma, I'm going to get you back this money when I get paid. And I'm not doing this no more. She was like, I know, my son. You better than that. You know what I'm saying? You know, because if you was reckless and not disciplined, you'll be out here getting yourself killed or locked up in these jail cells. I know you better than that. And you going to get your shit together. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm telling you to. You know what I'm saying? What's going to happen to me if I need you and you out here being reckless like that? How you going to take care of me? That shit hurt me. I ain't even want to entertain the fact that I couldn't take care of my moms because I'm out here losing my money like that. You know what I'm saying? So being out in the real world when I got my apartment and, you know what I'm saying, I'm paying for real bills and, even though I'm single, I ain't got no kids, I ain't married yet, but I'm still on my own and I'm being a responsible adult. And you can't be responsible when you doing careless things like that. And it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good at all. She made me really feel bad about, you know, losing all my money, all of it. She was like, you wasn't even disciplined to take your ass home. When you lost a couple of dollars, you had to lose your whole check. I said, yeah, I thought I could get back. She said, you never gonna get it back. You know what I'm saying? You need, look. She was like, you need to learn how to leave. And you just need to be strong and disciplined to say, all right, I'm a grown man now. The games I used to play, I can't play no more. There's too much at risk and too much at stake. You ain't in the street getting it fast so you don't care about it going fast. No, you grinding for that. A whole 2 weeks. Mind you, I did construction. I'm out in the heat. I'm out in the cold. And you gonna just throw your money away like that? You know what I'm saying? When you really sit and think about it, you be like, yeah, that's real stupid. But people do it because you weak. You're not disciplined. So I say to you guys that's weak and not disciplined, ask God for some strength and some discipline so you can be strong and be fearless. See, when you got a relationship with the Almighty, these are the attributes and the gifts that He give you. And you can stand on business. You know what I'm saying? Now, I just don't do this no more like I used to. But I go to MGM and even I'm cutting that back now, because they messing with the machines. Machines I used to win on, I ain't winning no more. And I ain't in the business of keep losing money like that. So now I'm just, it's just atmosphere when I roll up. I'm there to get something to eat, walk around. If I play, I probably spend $20, and I'm out. Cause I already know it's rigged, you know. I got better things to do with mine. I can go buy groceries, pay a bill. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. Come on, make it make sense. But maturity, maturity plays a lot of parts in the equation at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us, those of us that live this long from the 80s to now to grow up, when we reflect, we see how much of a long way that we done came, and so I saw Jay-Z is celebrating 30 years of his Blueprint album. You know what I'm saying? You know, so I'm proud to say I'm celebrating 30 years in the business that I'm in. You know, you know, anything 10, anything 20, anything 30, that's a big deal. And they need to be saluted. You feel me? So yeah, I started in the game at 26 and I'll be 56 this year. You know, I done lost my hair, but I still think, I still think I'm smooth like that. You know what I'm saying? I got a beautiful wife, beautiful family. You know what I'm saying? I'm blessed. And I ain't gonna act like I'm not. But I know who blessed me and gave me the blessings the Almighty did. Because that's who I walk with. You know the devil give you blessings too. And that's what they talking about. Being down for the demonic, satanic world, selling your soul, selling people out, sacrificing folks. What would you do to be famous? And do you really still want to be famous? So that's the message that I'm trying to allow people to chime in on. You know, with all this Epstein stuff going on and how Diddy was filming everybody and doing what he was doing, blackmailing people, you know, the gatekeepers ain't gonna let you get but so far without you having to compromise yourself. Are you willing to do that? Some people are. Look, I had a homeboy, and I hope he was playing. He like, shit, I ain't gonna hold you. That's what these youngins say. I ain't gonna hold you. I'll suck a nigga dick for $10 million. That's what the nigga said. And we was like, oh, he like, I'm dead ass. Fuck y'all niggas. I ain't gotta see y'all no more. I ain't gotta hear your jokes and all that. Y'all motherfuckers still gonna be right here and I'm gonna be in the world, out in the world, enjoying life. I'm like, dog, you a different kind of dude to be saying that out loud. It's a movie called Indecent Proposal. I think Woody Harrelson is in it and Robert Redford, and I met him before. Cool dude down in DC, downtown, and shook my hand and everything. And classic movie. And I think what's the girl name? Bruce Willis' wife, Demi Moore, was the actress in the movie. So they was at the casino, I want to say in Vegas, maybe Atlantic City, and the High Rollers was in there, and he saw her admiring a nice $5,000 dress, and she walked up out of there, and he said, "Why didn't you get the dress?" He said, and she laughed. "Oh, you must gonna pay for it because I can't afford it." And so Robert Redford in the movie found out who she was and what hotel she was staying in, and he had that dress delivered to her room. Now, mind you, she's married to Woody Harrelson in the movie, and he invited Woody Harrelson and Demi Moore to his table for dinner and proposed a deal. I think over the weekend that they were there at the hotel, they was trying. Oh, it was in Vegas. It was in Vegas. They was trying to roll the dice on 50,000 that they had to try to flip it, and of course they lost, and they was in debt, far as behind in mortgage, because I think Woody Harrelson lost his job. I think he was like some kind of architect, you know, something like one of them fancy jobs, but and I don't think Demi Moore worked. She was the pretty wife. So now they 3 months behind in their mortgage. So they trying to roll the dice on 50,000 and trying to flip it or triple it, right? They lost all that money. And so then they got to go back and sell their homes, start selling whatever money, like stocks and whatever they got going on, because they busted now. So just so happenly, you got a billionaire dude looking at you and ready to make you a proposal in front of Woody Harrelson. He was like, "Don't get me wrong, no disrespect, but you got a beautiful wife, and you know, I know you broke. I know you in debt. You lost your job. You came with your last kind of money that you had." So Woody Harrelson, like, what the hell? You telling him? Say, she like, "I don't know this dude." He like, "I got people. They looked you up. How about if I give you $1 million to get your life back? But I need a night with your wife." And he said, "Fuck you. You can kiss my white ass." That's what he said. He said, "I want you to just think about it. You know, take a day or two. You know what I'm saying? Here's my card. There's nothing to think about." So they got up and left. And the whole time that they were going home, I think it was California, they driving back from Vegas. And I think a day back home, 1 day back home, they got like 50, 11 bills packed up and styled up. And now they arguing and beefing. And she was like, she contemplating leaving this nigga. This ninja, I'm sorry. So he upset that she's upset. Jokingly, he said, "So I guess I'm gonna call the billionaire and pimp you out." fake ass laugh. And she side-eyeing him with her head down. $1 million is a lot of money. And he like, are you serious? You will go through with it? Only if you will go through with it. Anyway, they went back and forth with it and about it. And they wind up doing it. And she didn't respect him no more for letting her go to another man for some money to pay their bills. That was a powerful movie. First of all, I just feel like I guess the demographic of where you come from in the world, if you're middle class, if you're poor, that's going to drive your decision. But I'm from a neighborhood. Your manhood is everything. And disrespect is not tolerated. The fact that you disrespected me in front of my people, my wife, my girl, it's a penalty for that. So let's just say this. If I ever got offered and anybody stepped in me and disrespected me on that level and they were serious, I'm gonna tell you no. But let my wife say she would do it. When I said no, oh, we need the money and I'm gonna leave you and I ain't signed up to be struggling. Okay, I got you. All right, go ahead, let's do it. Now, in the movie, that joker picked her up in a helicopter and flew her to an island which was surrounded by the water. That was smart. Because me, I would have been trying to follow you. Y'all fill in the blanks. That's all I'm going to give y'all. But he was smart to airlift her wherever he was going to take her so he couldn't be followed. Because I was going to be, if it was me, I'm going to be trying to follow where you taking her. Y'all fill in the blank. What you think I'm thinking? But let's say this. After she did what she did, and he bust her down and wooed her and, told her, I'll put you on $100,000 allowance every time you come and see me. How you going to go back to your husband with somebody propositioning you like that? Of course she left, right? Of course. So I'm saying to anybody out there that get put in that position, if you don't follow that joker and end him, you go ahead and let your girl go do what she do and get your money up off of that. Break that money down. She ain't gotta know that you gonna leave her, but you leave that ass because she ain't loyal, for better, for worse. If I ain't with it, you ain't supposed to be with it, and vice versa. Real spill. That's the ultimate disrespect, for somebody to proposition you and you tell them no, and your girl want to do it. That's a double violation. You ain't gotta get crazy and end both of them. You ain't gotta do that. You going to jail. You know, let her go ahead and do it. Get your 500 up off of that. That 500,000. Yeah, babe. Go deposit that in our account. Matter of fact, you put half in yours and half in mine. You know what I'm saying? Once that check hit, I'm getting up and I ain't even gonna tell her I'm leaving. I'm just gonna be out. I can't look at you no more to know that you violated me like that. I'm just a man that I'm a man every day. I don't care how much money that I don't have. I'm a man every day. That's just what it is. You know? Whether I got it or not, I'm going to hold my nuts. And that's what it is. You ain't going to disrespect me like that. So he did real good. And that was clever to take her off in a helicopter wherever he took her. Somewhere in the open space near the island. They on the water in a big old yacht, you know, and he wooed her. You know what I'm saying? And it was supposed to be for a night. I think he kept her for the whole weekend and sent her back. Yeah, go ahead back to your husband. You know, thank you. Now, when you want to come back, it's 100,000 in for you every time you come back. Lord have mercy. You got to be real strong and disciplined to not be phased by that. And not be like, want any of that money and be willing to go along with it. Nah, nah. Maybe because I'm broke. I don't, you know what I'm saying? You can't miss nothing that you ain't had. So maybe he agreed to do it, Woody Harrison, because he come from a upscale family. They wasn't rich, but they were upper middle class, and he ain't been without. And you know, people that have and then they don't have it no more, they lose their mind and they jump out the window. But when you grow up with nothing and you can't miss nothing you ain't never had. Even when you get it and lose it, okay, I've been here before. I did it once. I can get on my feet again because I did it before. So that's the mindset that I got. That's how I'm rolling. But that was clever to take her off in a helicopter so nobody could follow you. No car come and pick her up and take her somewhere. or to the airport and got on a plane or something. Nah, he had a helicopter come get her from the top of a skyscraper and took her, let's say, to Hawaii from Vegas, from California. That's 9 hours over the water of the, what's that, Pacific Ocean? Yeah. He made sure nobody followed him. Hey, thank y'all for your time. This big day, Streets Finest, like, share, subscribe. It been real. Peace.